Hello and welcome to another interesting episode of Global Supply Chain Management with Chinedu. Now, today we'll continue from where we stopped the last time, talking about supply chain maturity and complexity. As an organization, remember we talked about that to improve the value of your supply chain, it's important you do these three things: understand your current level, highlight the desired level you want to get to, and then review how to close the gap between both levels of maturity. And that is very important. Last week we saw the first stage or the first stage of evolution, which is the multiple dysfunction, right? So look at these are the five stages. Now today we're talking about the semi-functional enterprise, and that's very important. So you see, if this is where you are, what can you do better, right? So what is a semi-functional enterprise? It is simply a reactive, efficient supply chain. It means a supply chain in which information flow has improved. There is clear-cut definition of departments and what they are to do, but then they are not working together. Again, it is largely reactive instead of being proactive. So that's why this one is called a reactive efficient supply chain. So there's a bit of efficiency in it because again, there is clear flow of information and there's clear-cut distribution in terms of what departments are supposed to do, right? So you can see some of the things here. Department tends to be more effective. You can see logistics team, they might want to reduce the transport cost, but by strategically selecting carriers. However, all what they're doing with carriers and routes and transit, they are not carrying the warehousing team along. Inventory team is not aware. You understand? So team logistics is doing well. Team inventory does not understand. Team marketing is trying to make forecasts, right? And they're making forecasts in isolation, not minding the strength available to the logistics team or the capacity of the warehouse for the inventory or what the procurement is going to source. You understand? So all of these things are characteristics of what makes the semi-functional enterprise what it is. However, at an individual level, right, at a departmental level, they are all doing their best to be efficient. So you can see the summary here. Suppliers and customers are still wide apart. Information flows clearly, but then the teams are segmented. Everybody is in a silo. So distribution team, they are there. What they are doing, they don't carry the marketing team along, right? Marketing do not carry production along. Same with R&D, logistics. All of these things happen in this kind of chain, all right, at this level. So if this is the level you've gotten to, well done, because of course you're not at the multiple dysfunction. However, there's still so much to do because again, this is not a proactive supply chain. This is not efficient enough, right? Okay, so and lastly, you can see what are the things that the basic effects of this kind of chain. Of course, internal efficiency will be improved. First of all, because team A, everybody's now it's more of seeing it as a competition instead of as a team, right? Because team logistics is just doing well to their own to their own glory, if I should use that word, right? However, they don't care how that affects the marketing or how whatever the marketing is doing, they don't care how it affects procurement, right? Or how it affects the warehouse, the inventory, all of those demand buying and co, right? Which is where there's a big distinction between all parts. So you can see silo departments, everyone is working in silos. There's no cross-functional collaboration. And that, of course, definitely your marginal cost will increase, and then you cannot forecast accordingly. Your forecasting will still have so many errors because again, the host players that will make this work were not consulted, we're not carried along. You just come and say, okay, we are doing XYZ, and oh, do we have the capacity? Do we have the efficiency? Are we good enough for this to go through? Is not considered, right? So that is what this semi-functional enterprise or supply chain is about. So if this is the level you are, it's important to look at it again, but then do not be discouraged because again, it's just the stage two, right? There is more to go. And as you join us next week, we'll talk about the next stage. And when you look at the differences between stage one or stage two and the next, you see, okay, where are you lagging behind? What can you do to get better? Do not forget, at the end of the day, we want to get better as a supply chain, as a team, as an organization. And that's very important. So join me next week while we look at the third level of maturity. Feel free to drop your questions, like, comment, follow this page, and you see more interesting insights on supply chain. Thank you and see you next week. Take care. Bye.